We are live. First time I've done this in terms of going live on Facebook and Instagram at the same time. Just took a little bit of a while just to get that sorted out. Right, so here we go. As the title of the video says, if your doctor has suggested removing your organs, I suggest removing your doctor. Now, I put a post up a few days ago about the appendix and about how important it is and about how it just gets removed constantly without a lot of the time people even understanding why it's been removed. And if you saw the thread underneath the post that I put on, you'd be seeing the amount of horror stories from people that said after it had been removed, the trouble they'd gone through, the fact they couldn't remain any health, they've had constant digestive issues, and they never got told why it was being removed a lot of the time. And other people had it removed because the appendix ruptured and burst. And so, as I always say, when I put these posts out, I always, I think my audience is very intelligent. So when I'm saying these things, if your organ ruptures or bursts, then yes, it's a last resort. If it's going to maybe, cost you your life, then that is one time that medical emergency is needed, and yes, you'd get your appendix removed in that instance. But there's a whole myriad of things that go on before that you can do to take care of your appendix so this doesn't happen. And it's the same with other organs. People said, they had their gallbladder removed or tonsils, and these are all things you need. No one's ever been born with too many organs, and no organ is useless. The body wouldn't have it if it was. And so, for example, when it comes to the gallbladder, it produces bile so the body can break down fats. If you don't have the gallbladder, you can't break down fats. That's an arduous life of having to do that. There's ways we can get around it, but it's not ideal. You need your gallbladder. Your tonsils are a detoxification organ. They allow your lungs and your brain to detoxify. Get rid of your tonsils. If you keep on getting tonsillitis, the body's telling you're toxic, you need to live a different way. Pollutants, environmental toxins, the way you're eating, the stresses, the way you're living, something needs to change. You just chop the tonsils out, doesn't get to the root of the problem. The problem just comes out somewhere else. And this is the same with the appendix. The appendix is very, very important in the body. Now, for years it was just seen, or it still is in the medical industry, as an organ that's not necessary. It's unneeded. I think Charles Darwin even said, it's a useless organ. God, Source, Great Spirit, whatever you want to say, isn't that stupid. Mother Nature isn't that stupid. There would never be an organ in your body for no reason. And when I'm doing this video as well, I just wanted to say quickly, I'm not doing this to cause alarm. If you have your appendix out, it's like someone said, Ryan, you're doing these videos and it makes me worry. I've had my appendix out. It's causing me fear. My answer to that is, I'm here to forewarn people, because it'd be like me knowing about the dangers of glyphosate or the dangers of Teflon and not telling people, because people that have been cooking in them or using glyphosate may, have cancers, etc. It's like, no, I need to tell people so we can forewarn people. And also there's things I'm going to be telling you that you can do anyway to rectify the situation. I'm also not here to invalidate anyone's experience. So anyone that's had an appendix rupture or burst without what they seemed was any warning or any pre-symptoms, then that's your experience, But the thing is with that, most people have no idea what the sort of warning signs would be anyway, because they don't link it. And with modern medicine, what we grow up with, we're taught to compartmentalise everything. You have a shoulder surgeon, a neurologist, endocrinologist, all these people that specialise in certain areas, that they don't understand the body works as one. And we like to say, a specialist is someone who knows more and more about less and less until they know absolutely everything about nothing. And so when it comes to the appendix or appendicitis, or even having certain things that can cause issues with the appendix that you wouldn't know about, that can be grief, stress, a lot of worry, toxic foods, parasites, worms, environmental pollutants, etc. The list is endless. And these things, if you keep on, a bacteria strain, for example, just thinking on the top of my head, and if you keep on getting this overexposure or this constant chronic stress to it, that can lead to these issues. And if you're getting any sort of constant gut issues or chronic gut issues, that can also lead to appendix having problems because it's been overburdened. And your appendix is actually the microchip of your gut, which I'll get into. I've just got some notes here I just wanted to talk about, just so people understand. So when you talk about appendicitis, the appendix becoming inflamed, often due to obstruction by hard stool, indigestible objects, trauma, parasites, worms, or swollen lymph tissues, so lymph nodes. And you can get symptoms such as loss of appetite, nausea, vomiting, constipation or diarrhea, high fever, abdominal bloating or swelling, or any sort of chronic gut issue. And that would tell you, the appendix is under stress, is in need of help. And I first learned this, the importance of the appendix, studying with Dr. Edward Group. He used to have cancer clinics. He still has the Global Healing Centre. Very, very intelligent guy. And he learned about the importance of the appendix by going through old Russian and German literature. He had to go back through it. And this was just before about 15, 16 years ago, before the internet was really taken, hadn't flourished like it had today. And so he had to go through and actually translate this German text and Russian text. And what they found was, the appendix was so super important to the body. I mean, it even sits in the junction between the small intestine and large intestine. That's how important it is. It's the microchip. It's like a about size of a pinky. It sits in between those junctions, and it tells everything what to do. So one of the things it does here as well, it allows it talks to the endocrine system, the lymphatic system, the neurological system. It's really the brain of your body. I mean, you've got a brain in your head, you've got a brain in your gut. It is the brain of your gut. It's what Dr. McCullough calls the biodome, your microbiome, but the biodome, because it's in the gut. And what it does as well, it stores good beneficial bacteria. So if anything happens in the gut, it can flood the gut back with that beneficial bacteria to recolonize it. So when we have antibiotics, we have anything like surgery where they use they put you under. Sorry, it's gone off the top of my head. They put you under. It wipes out your gut flora. It can recolonize. Same as any bacteria comes in. It stores that information. So if anything comes in your body, like a bacteria or parasite or worm, anything that really attacks your body, it can recognize that. So it can make bacteria or any sort of immune system cells that can counteract it. So it also holds in the B cell lymphocytes, commonly made in the bone marrow and in the thymus gland. And so it plays a really important role as well in preventing early diseases, especially in the large intestine and small intestine. So it's very, very important for your body. And so, as I said before, lymphatic drainage, neurological disorders. What else have we got here? There was one more. It's got endocrine system. So yeah, it's the microchip of the body, and it can flood the body back with good bacteria when it's needed, and it can detect early disease in the body, but especially in the gut. So it's super important. Now, what we can do if we feel like our body or our appendix is under stress, or you keep getting appendicitis, rather than just having it taken out. So I always say before, would you just rip the gear stick out of your car if they had a problem with it, or would you get it fixed? And that's just a car, right? Your body's far more important than a car, far more valuable. Now you go and get it treated, you go and get it seen. So what we can do is make certain adjustments to our diet, to our lifestyle, to allow the appendix to heal, allow the body to heal. And it's the same if you had the appendix taken out. The principles remain the same. So we have to work on ourselves and our health from the inside out. And we do this through, obviously, nutrition, detoxification, working on building up the gut microbiome, and stopping pollutants coming in, so avoiding inflammatory and allergenic foods like wheat, gluten, pasteurized, homogenized dairy, caffeine, soy, white sugar, for example, these things, alcohol. Okay, so we stay away from that, and then we go through a process of reducing stress, because managing stress, maybe you can't reduce it because we've got a life, but we can manage it. We can put things in place like doing breath work, qigong, tai chi, going for walks, exercising intelligently, you know, getting out amongst nature, spending time with loved ones, all the things that we're basically being told that make no difference to your health. These things are huge, and also things that the mainstream is trying to get us to avoid. These things are super important because every time, you know, you can keep on introducing new bacteria into your gut and building up your microbiome, but stress, managing your stress is the best way to preserve it, because stress can kill off the friendly bacteria in your gut like that. So by managing your stress, relaxing, making sure when you're eating your food that you're calm, not just what food you're eating, it's who you are when you're eating it, because if you're stressed, it's something I have to really work with, because being a business owner, trying to do lots of things, I have to really take my time and relax. And when I'm doing that, I'll go out and eat in the balcony. I'll take time to chill. I may put on some relaxing music. You know, I'll step away from things, because if you're stressed when you're eating, you don't even produce the chyme in your mouth, the bile from your gallbladder to digest food. You're in your fight and flight rather than your rest and digest. And so it's not just what you're eating, it's who you are when you're eating it. Then it's also the combinations of foods. Are you eating foods that are easy to break down, or are you just putting all foods together? You know, so you can look into food combining. That can be very, very powerful for allowing your body to actually digest the food properly. And then we can use aids to help us digest food. So if you're struggling to digest food, or you haven't got your appendix, then you can use things like HCl or digestive enzymes to help break down that food. Probiotics. If you look on my website, reviveyourself.co, you can click on the shop tab and go to Biooptimizers. They're the best in the world, in my opinion, when it comes to digestive help with the probiotics, HCl and digestive enzymes. And then we can use other things as well to help build up our gut bacteria. So we can use cultured foods, fermented foods. Coconut water kefir is one of my favourites. Milk kefir is good. Some people still don't do well with dairy when it comes to that. So if you don't, then coconut water kefir is very, very powerful. And fermented foods like sauerkraut or kimchi, very, very good. So keeping, building up your digestive flora. Having fruit on an empty stomach is great, because it allows the digestive system to really start to work. And you've got other things like radishes and chicory that are like prebiotics. They can really help. But going through a yearly or twice yearly cleanse is super important as well. So really allowing your colon to clear, because anything that gets stored or plaque to build, that causes issues. So we need to make sure our colon's clear. I mean, ideally, guys, we should be passing 12 inches of feces a day. So even in one bowel movement of 12, 2 of 6, or 3 or 4. If that's not happening, then we need to get that working again. You shouldn't have to rely on coffee or any laxatives to go. It should be moving very, very smoothly, like clockwork, and it should be well formed. It should be easy to pass. Okay, if it's not happening, you're getting diarrhea or constipation, or your stool's not right, then something's telling you something's off. Okay, because you go in the wild, you see any animal, they pass stool very easily, very simply. It's only us that struggle because of our modern stresses. Okay, so it's important. You can either go for colonics, or you can do a colon cleanse. In our program, we go through this as well. My Total Health Revival program, we go through a whole body detoxification. It's very, very important. So then the colon to cleanse, and then we also look into the liver and the kidneys, because these are also organs that are very, very powerful in our digestion. Our liver is the battery of life. Our kidneys help to clean the water, urine, and even spleen energy that we put into our body. So these are very important. So we like to do a liver cleanse and a kidney cleanse once a year, and also heavy metals and parasite cleanses, because heavy metals can cause stress in the body. That can cause toxins in the body. That can cause its own issues. And parasites, as you mentioned before, parasites and worms can get into the appendix. They can get into any organ. So it's very important to clear parasites every year. So once or twice a year, I really recommend that. Whether you've got appendix issues, whether you've had your appendix out or not, these things should be done by everyone to make sure you don't have it. Remember, prevention's much better than cure. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And so these are things you can do as well. Okay, making sure your house, the air is clean in your house. The air in most people's houses is 10 times more toxic than the air outside. So getting plants in your house and the air come through is really important. And so this is why you need an overall approach. The other thing to mention with this is when you start to put these things into place, you're gonna notice a difference in your body anyway. Your body's gonna start to heal. You may go through something called a little healing crisis, which means you might feel a bit worse before you feel better. That's normal, and especially if your body's been storing toxins and it's not been able to release them, then this is a normal process. But just remember, sometimes you have to go backwards to go forwards. And when it comes to cleaning the body out, it's a process that shouldn't be underestimated, and it needs to be done, especially in our hyper-toxic, hyper-stressful world, okay? What else have I gone into? Yeah, someone wanted to know, because there was questions around, because someone said, there was an intervention where someone's child had their appendix out, medical intervention then led the child to getting autism, and people were saying, medical intervention doesn't lead to autism. Well, I've got a great podcast with Dr. Stephanie Seneff on that, and also another one with, I think it's Karen Moore, about how she reversed her child's autism. Now, getting your appendix out won't cause autism, but there's certain things that the medical industry can do when they are doing their medical intervention afterwards, like wiping out the gut flora, like injecting people with certain things full of heavy metals and other things like polysorbate 80, etc., and having glyphosate in certain medications that can pass the blood-brain barrier, that can cause issues. And so that was what the person was relating to. So you have to be very, very careful with who you're seeing and what you're doing. So I always say, these options, extraction is the last thing you want to do. It's the last option, and even if that happens, try to work with someone who understands the repercussions that can come with some of the medical interventions. I said before, if it's a matter of life and death, it's needed, but there's certain things you don't need to do to the body, and heavy metals, glyphosate, things like that get in the body, antifreeze, other things that I don't really want to say too much about, because try not to get my channel banned anymore. But you can dive into that yourself. Would I still recommend cleanse if your blood sugar levels are high? Yeah, 100%. You definitely need to cleanse. Yep, definitely you can cleanse if your blood sugar levels are high. I mean, on our programs, we get people with high blood sugar, diabetes. We reverse that in a matter of weeks. It's very easy to bring your blood sugar levels down once you start doing things correctly. Someone's also put, can you tell us the benefit of bone broth? I've seen it, drink it quite a lot. Bone broth's fantastic for healing and sealing the gut. So the gut lining, it's full of fantastic nutrients, but also full of gelatin, which really helps to smooth over the gut lining, so any holes in the gut lining get smoothed over. And it's just full of life-giving vitamins, minerals, vitamins, minerals, and what else is there? One other thing I'm missing. It's full of as well, which just keep my mind, but it's super nourishing for the body. And once again, you heal the gut, you heal the brain, so the gut-brain connection. If you want to find out more information about my programs, guys, you can email me at ryan@reviveyourself.co, or you can just message me. That's the best place to do that. Or you can go to reviveyourself.co. Everything I've mentioned here, guys, we walk you through that on my Total Health Revival program. We go through the mental, the emotional, the physical, nutritional, energetic. We go through cleansing the body initially, giving you like a 21-day reset, then going deeper into colon, liver, kidneys, heavy metals and parasites, because it's really important to understand that process. You can do it yourself, but I always say, when you work with someone, you're just paying to get rid of all the overwhelming, all the stress and the misinformation, and to get the results quicker. So if you want to do that, that's fine. And we've helped over 7,500 people now when it comes to this. And when it comes to appendicitis, and other issues like gallbladder issues, tonsillitis, anything when it comes to the body and organs being overburdened, we've helped so many people, because the way you heal anything is the way you heal everything. That's the actual thing that people fail to realise. Yes, your symptoms might be this, but the reason is this: the body being toxic, deficient, internally imbalanced, overly stressed, inflamed. When you get to the root of that, I always say, it's like your predisposition to disease plus modern lifestyle equals your chronic illness. And so where I get gut and skin issues, other people get appendicitis, other people get gallbladder issues, other people get tonsillitis. Other people get arthritis, cancer. The way you heal that is by getting to the root of it, and the root of it is, you know, deficiencies, remineralization, your gut health, detoxification, getting rid of inflammation, giving your body the nutrients it needs, and reducing the stress levels or managing the stress levels, stopping pollutants coming in, okay? So this is why it's super powerful. And it's why we always bring that holistic approach, because it's necessary. You can be eating the best foods in the world, you know, you can even be exercising. But if your stress is through the roof, or you're getting up every day and you're living in a toxic environment and your relationships are out of balance, it doesn't matter what food you're eating, you're never going to digest them, and your body's going to be in a constant state of stress. And so this is why it's super important. This is why I'm putting more things like my Qigong in my stories, or just pictures of me going to the beach. I'm going to do that this afternoon. I'm going to go to the beach and relax. Because if I'm working 6-7 hours a day, I need that time to relax. So every day I go for a walk without my phone for 30 minutes. I listen to relaxing music. I listen to meditation, hypnotherapy, all these things allow me to calm. So important, because if the body's constantly stressed, it's almost like you keep on pulling apart a rope. Eventually it will break. You know, another analogy that one of my first mentors talked to me about was like, you keep on blowing up a balloon, eventually it will burst. And so, and when it comes to the appendix, you don't want it to burst. You want it now. If it has burst and ruptured, then we do what we can, and we get the body to healthy as it can be, because the body's super clever, and other organs will pick up the slack for the appendix. The liver, the kidneys, the spleen, the lungs will start to do things that the appendix would have done otherwise, or it'll start to take up some of that slack. It's how you can live without it. Doesn't mean it's optimal, but you can. But obviously we want to be as healthy as possible and live as optimally as possible, so we can enjoy our life, so we can go and do things, go for birthdays and weddings and enjoy them and do whatever. And so, you know, we take care of ourselves as best we can. Okay, guys? I hope that helps. I hope that helps. If there's any other questions I missed, I can't remember. There's probably been quite a few. Gone on Facebook and on Instagram. But yeah, I'll be doing more of these lives, guys. Yeah, someone's put the appendix is really sensitive to dehydration. It's also greatly affected by emotion of fear, according to Lewis Hayes' book. That's awesome. So every organ as well, guys, it's linked to every emotion. You know, the liver is anger. The liver's anger. The spleen, if you're being overworked. The kidneys, you know, worry and fear. So the kidneys being with fear, and the appendix, that is interesting, because in Chinese medicine, that sort of whole... that sort of ties in, actually. So when you think about emotion, sometimes when you're angry or stressed, you'll be putting that onto your liver, and then that can come out in verbal diarrhea or frustration. And so you have to realise your body, your psychology and your physiology is interlinked. It's all part of the same process, the same being. And it's why, you know, to think that your psychology doesn't impact your physiology is naive, because we've all lost someone that we love dearly, and had that impact you. You know, you probably know someone that lost a loved one, and that grief led to them getting ill themselves, or losing weight, or looking, you know, ill, aged before their time. That's how much the psychological can impact the physical. So it's super important to go through this. This is why I said before, I touch on this throughout all my programs. I'll be talking about this a lot as we go through. We'll be doing more videos on this. Going to be doing lots more content on this. And look, if you're someone who's a high achiever, owns a business, entrepreneur, or works long hours, or whatever it is, you know, this is super important, because you cannot achieve what you want to achieve. You cannot perform at your highest level if you are super stressed, toxic, running on fumes, empowering yourself. A lot of people in this world today, you know, they burn the candle at both ends. They're getting by on energy drinks and caffeine. That's a way to quickly hit rock bottom. You know, you might sustain it for a little while through a strong constitution, but eventually you will burn out. And I've actually got my free giveaway coming out soon on that. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful, guys. The appendix is super important. Take good care of it for your diet and lifestyle detoxification. If you haven't got it anymore, take good care of it for your diet, your lifestyle detoxification, and also both times working on your gut health, managing your stress. If you need any help with this, ryan@reviveyourself.co. We have a chat, show you about how my Total Health Revival program can help you. 15 years of my knowledge has gone into that, breaking down every single bit in an easy step-by-step process for you. And if not, I'm always here sharing this information for you. Lots of love. Have a good rest of your Friday, good weekend, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.